So we rejoin Georg at rock bottom. His only friend and faithful servant Reptar is dead, and he is on top of the most wanted list, and also a stranger in a strange town, and being covered in blood doesn't help. But Georg is nothing if not resourceful, and after only a couple of days he has become Karl, a respectable travelling engineer who has absolutely nothing to do with magic, no sir. He decides to lay low for a while and spends his time inventing a useful pocketed vest, slandering Tyrus Bellows, and even helping some gnomes fix the town's sieging equipment, which was damaged in a recent drunken humping accident. While he does have some success in casting shade on Tyrus's character, most of the people remain convinced that while there is something strange about the sheriff, he is probably not a minion of evil. After he is rested, Georg sets off for the town of Misty Rapids. Not long after he leaves the safety of Thornwood, he encounters some brownies who he manages to befriend. Sadly, Georg makes the fateful decision to not spend the night with his new miniature friends. How different things would have turned out if he had decided to stay. But he once more takes the road, and after a while he comes across gnolls who had just ambushed some travellers. He uses the new rope trick spell to mostly escape danger. After killing some gnolls with magic missiles from the amulet, he challenges the gnoll leader to climb up the rope and battle him like a wizard. The gnoll loses, and Georg uses his soul to power the amulet. Unfortunately, it seems the sudden rush of power had an adverse effect on Georg, and before he can stop himself, he has sacrificed the surviving humans to the amulet as well. He continues on his way and blames Tyrus for killing both the gnolls and the survivors when he meets travellers. Fear grips them, and they all travel together back towards Misty Rapids. All the while, Georg tells the terrifying tale of the murderous Tyrus Bellows, servant of the dark. Will Georg escape his reputation as a dark wizard? Will he convince everyone that Tyrus is the true monster? How far will Georg's descent into darkness go? Find out next time on Dicing with Death.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Dicing with Death. How are you guys doing today?
Us guys is doing great.
Yes, guys are doing good. Oh god, I forgot to do something. There we go. Woo! Alright. We'll just ignore that little blip.
Were the overlays crazy for a second there?
No, I just forgot to turn off a video on the video screen. It doesn't matter. It's all patched away. So
a little bit of chaos in Malchus's name. The right way to kick off a stream.
to be truth, everything was fine, but it was too perfect. There were no production errors, so I had to make up one. Yeah, gotta keep with our theme here. Anyway, how are you doing today, Ryan? All of you guys.
Doing well. Ready for some D&D?
How was your science experiment?
Didn't quite work out. Twitch chat I think accidentally heard grumblings when I first called you up.
They heard our secrets. They heard all the secrets.
Yeah, so that's why we're starting slightly late tonight. I was at work, but YouTube viewers will have no idea.
They'll never know. Off doing important things for humanity. God. How selfish of you.
Now let's play some D&D where we destroy it.
Pretty much.
Watch Georg's last shred of humanity wither away. Or was that last week?
Well, I don't know. I think he's got some goodness left inside of him. Okay. It hasn't been driven from him yet.
I'm sure you've got something to say about that. So I guess I'll let you take it away as me and this caravan stagger into Misty Rapids.
That is correct. You guys stagger into Misty Rapids, which should be up on screen for you right now.
You turned Fog of War off, so I can
I
see
did.
everything.
You
Did
can
mean
see
to
the
do
whole
that?
map. It was quite intentional, yes. I'll turn it back on a little bit later. I just want everyone to get the lay of the land here. So Misty Rapids is this
Yeah.
quaint little town of maybe 2,500 people along the road between Cauldron and Thornwood, just along the Misty River.
I
You will
haven't. Maybe I heard of Cauldron on the road.
One of the people on the wagon would have told you about Cauldron.
Okay.
Cauldron is the start of the Misty River, and it is named that after the giant hot geyser that they have at the edge of town. This geyser pumps out enough water to actually create this entire river, and it pumps it out at a boiling temperature. So the Misty River is named thus because the boiling water flows down this creek or this river, and it lets off all this steam. And for miles and miles and miles, there's just steam rolling off of the river. And at night, when it gets especially cool, just big billows of fog come pouring everywhere. Cauldron, the people in the Misty Rapids caravan that you're in, is also known for one other thing. Their manner of execution is placing people in a metal cage on a wooden beam and just rolling them out in front of the geyser and letting the boiling water blow up on them and burn them alive. Boil them alive. And as such, the people of Misty Rapids have found the Cauldronians somewhat lacking in morality, as you might imagine. Anyone coming down the road to the west of Misty Rapids, well, into Misty Rapids from the west, is subject to the purification ritual. The cleric, one of the two clerics in Misty Rapids, is known for her fervor and rallying the people to her fervor in getting these unclean people cleansed. Her name is Mother Ulmin, and she is a cleric of Nadinus, the goddess of nature. She'll feed them a magical berry and wash them with water from the river while saying some words. And anyone that comes in from the west must be cleansed. However, you're coming from the east, so you're okay. The guy on your wagon informs you.
But probably in need of a cleansing.
Right. Misty Rapids is also known for the rapids running alongside of it. The water just next to Misty Rapids, because it's built up against the river, is quite turbulent, with plenty of falls and rapids and little whirlpools going along, making passage from the town side to the other side almost impossible. Some would say it's impossible. The only way to cross the river would be upstream or downstream. If you go too far upstream, it becomes hot, if not boiling water. So crossing there is pretty rough. But that's the general area of Misty Rapids, and you pull into town just a little before noon on this fine day. As you pull in, your caravan has swelled in numbers. All the other people that were headed to Thornwood turned back and followed with you. Now, there weren't too terribly many of them, but this is a main road, so every day you'll probably get four or five groups of people heading down it. But you guys pull into Misty Rapids. Here is our layout of the town.
Oh, whoa. Prep was done.
Yes, prep. Well, yes. And you guys are arriving from the east.
Yes.
But as you come in down the road, some people look up to see you and walk over and go, "Hey, weren't you the why is he covered in blood? What's going on?" And before you can get a word out, your wagon driver goes into, "Oh my God, there were gnolls, and there was this man in green armor named Tyrus. You know, the one they say that's from the Far East by the ocean. He came in and he slaughtered the gnoll, and then he just starts telling the story that you've been telling." And
I let them tell the story. I think I sit back. I feign weakness. I think I just walked through the night again. I don't know when the last time Georg slept was, but he's making a habit out of these all-nighters.
Mm-hmm.
So I let the rumor mill take over.
Yeah, they start telling stories, start describing these things, and you are ushered.
Do they even refer to me, or do they
oh no, they refer to you. They point back and go like, "This guy, he survived." Georg,
Okay.
You got to tell him, how'd you get out of there?
I ran. I didn't know what else to do. Call me a coward. Maybe I am, but it was horrifying after watching. When the Knolls was one thing, but a man.
Oh my God. Discretion's the better part of valor, they say. There's no point in throwing your life away. Only a fool would do that. But a small crowd starts to gather. Then the carriages behind you and wagons behind you start complaining and shouting, "Come on, move on down the road. I gotta go. Got somewhere to be." And some of the people ask you to come with them to the Bad Fish, the bar nearby, in
Oh,
order
good.
to.
I was worried they were going to ask me to come to talk to the town guards about this knoll problem.
No, they want to hear the story, and so they want you to go to the Bad Fish
Yeah.
and tell the story to everyone there.
Yeah, I'm probably in need of sustenance, food and drink, weary from my travels, so I will gladly accompany this crowd to the Bad Fish.
Great.
Let them lead me through these city streets. So it's probably pretty flat, good visibility. We're in the plains now, right? We've stepped out of
Kind of.
Thornwood Forest.
This town's built on a hill. The riverside is at the bottom of the hill, and the rest of the town is on the, it just slopes upward from there.
Okay. And can I see
But
that
horizontally,
temple?
it's quite flat.
Is that temple at the top of the hill?
Yes, the main temple is at the top of the hill. Well, I wouldn't say at the top of the hill. The hill continues to rise beyond that, but it is up the hill.
And so I guess I got it's the Tetherwilds to the south is where
Correct.
the gnolls came from, and that's just a vast open plain.
Vast open expanse.
Well, me and my entourage, I guess, head off to the Bad Fish.
Right.
I was sort of hoping they'd tell the tales themselves. It almost sounded like this guy was going to pretend that he had seen it, which I was totally okay with. I was, like acting up, like, yeah, I saw a gnoll. What up?
No.
No.
No, he passes on the credit to you. The story to you, but he seems eager to be in the limelight for a moment and talk about what he's seen, or what you've seen, what he's heard.
Yeah.
And so you guys head to the Bad Fish. As I said, it's a little afternoon when you arrive.
Okay.
And this is your friendly neighborhood bar, tavern, joint. There's some music going on the side, some soft music. There's a human woman practicing a dance off the stage, not quite on, like trying to get her spins right. There's not very many people in here. In fact, it sounds like the band's practicing almost.
I guess, yeah. Early in the day, is when we probably take the place over, right? How big is it most of the caravan, or just a couple of the guys?
It's you, your driver, and like 4 or 5 other people that were on the caravan eventually come down and hear you tell the story again and add their little bits and pieces. Like, oh yeah, and he said this one time, and what about this? Oh, you're gonna love this part. But a small group of townsfolk gathers around you. You've got maybe 20 folk about.
Yeah, I'd like to not be the center of attention if I can do that. We'll see.
Well, you have a fascinating story to tell. So for a little while at least, you are the center of attention. But you can do as you please with this and drag it out or cut it short.
We'll see. I'll at least get a drink out of the deal.
Mm-hmm. They continue to ply you with drinks and food as long as you tell your story.
Nice. I've been living off rations for a while, I think, so. A warm meal and a full cup of ale is a nice
Cool.
change of pace. So, I guess I'll at some point ask around for where I can find an inn to rest up, or I guess it's early in the day, but I'm tired and
Yeah.
I need spells.
There are
I mean,
two.
what spells? Definitely.
There are 2 inns in town, Fogview and First Falls. You hear that Fogview is a little bit nicer. First Falls is, it's down by the waterfall, so it's got a nice, great view, but it's kind of a dump.
Well, I'm kind of a mess, so maybe I'd fit in there. I don't know. My gold pouch is heavy, but my expenses are mounting. Who knows what Displacer Beast hide costs in this climate? Now that witches are being hunted, the price of these is going to go way up. Yeah, so it's F. Yeah, we're going. I'm accidentally turning nocturnal. Maybe it's Malchus's chaotic influence, or So at some point I'll slip out of the bad fish. I'm within a couple of hours.
Okay.
Is there anything you'd like to do there? Do you?
No, you get the name of an inn.
Yeah.
You head off. You
I
leave them
excuse
alone.
myself. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, you can at any
I'm
point
like,
excuse
yeah.
yourself. They
I'm a
understand.
little woozy. I've probably got a big swollen lump on my head, probably two. I don't know where the second rock hit me, but I'm down 2 HP.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's probably, is there a nasty scar on my hand? So I guess like, wow. So I'm sitting in this inn, just like dazedly answering their questions. But Georg's had a pretty traumatic experience.
Yeah, I know. You tell your story.
I'm having like flashbacks. Like I keep seeing my hand glow red, like it did for a second. And I look down and it's back to normal, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is there a scar where I had to cut myself to
No.
charge the amulet?
Yeah, there's still like a little
like a
cut.
healed up cut.
Yeah, just a normal cut. But there's nothing special about any of these markings on your body. Nothing that would betray their arcane origins.
And the amulet itself, it's fully charged now. So all the gems turned red.
Yes.
Are they glowing or are
no,
they just
they do not glow.
rubies?
They just look like rubies instead of quartz crystals.
Well, that's shoved under a shirt and a vest. So
remind us all what you have charged in your amulet.
I've one of each. My amulet is charged with an invisibility, a magic missile, and a true seeing.
Fantastic.
With Malchus's blessing, all of those are cast at 9th level of casting.
That's nice.
I used most of my spells. In fact, all I have is a detect magic and a displace self, which I don't even have the material components for.
And if I'm not mistaken, you kept your wizardry nature secret during this conversation with these folks.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. You make your way to... Which inn did you want to go to? The nice one or the poor one?
Let's go to First Falls. I'm trying to keep a low profile.
All right. You head to First Falls. It's a quiet sort of place.
How's it quiet? Isn't it right next to Roaring Rapids?
Well, yes.
Waterfall.
The sound of the river is quite loud, but the place itself is kind of quiet. There's no one about. In fact, you have to walk through the inn and walk out to the back porch to even find the innkeeper. He's parked up on a reclining chair with his feet on a log and a hat down over his face, taking a nap in the sun. I mean, you don't have to role play. We can just get you in if you'd like.
Okay, sure. I wake him gently, tell him I'm looking for an inn room, probably for a couple days, but I give him.
Yeah,
I'll hand him a gold and say I need a room for probably a couple days, and just go to sleep right away.
He holds on to the gold coin and says, well then, why don't we just keep this as a down payment and I'll give you your change when you leave.
Yeah, that's what I was imagining. I give him a wink and head upstairs for a nap.
Excellent. Okay. You head upstairs and go to sleep.
I must admit, I'm a little terrified that you've got the dimensions to all those islands on the map. It makes it look like you're expecting me to jump across the river.
I just figured, well, part of the defensive nature of this town is this river, because to the north are the Soggy Hills, which is a very untamed wild area, and there are all sorts of beasts up there. And the way this town keeps safe is because this section of the river is so turbulent. It's difficult to get across. So in the event of any time something might be coming across that river, it's nice to know how far apart things are. But yeah, there's a reason why you might be a little worried. Okay.
The GM prepared. That's never a good thing.
You are awoken sometime later.
Before I'm ready?
Before you're ready. The innkeeper has your door open, crack, and goes, excuse me, Mr. Carl? Mr. Carl, was it?
I sit up. Yes. There was probably like a pregnant pause there where I'm like, Carl, who the fuck's Carl? I was probably like dreaming and like hearing these and, not instinctively waking up at first because he's not shouting my name. But I eventually stood up with a start. grab a hand, cross my fingers around little Carl, and go towards the door.
You notice standing outside the door is a woman.
I've opened it a crack, but I peek.
Oh, no, like he's already got the door open. His
Oh,
head's
he does.
looking in.
Okay, so okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So
He
the
opened
little, yeah. So maybe they saw me like shooting up and moving a hand towards where my knife belt is lying. And I see a woman, and
You see a
Because-
tall, thin woman.
yeah, and
Probably taller
I
than
let my
you?
guard down instinctively. I think.
Well, she has. Don't let your guard down yet. She has studded leather armor on, and an halberd in her hand. With a
No,
black
not
blade.
the halberd.
The
Wow.
halberd with a
How does
black
she have a halberd
blade.
on indoors?
It's just like you can walk with it. You can't really fight with it indoors, but you could carry it. You know.
They black? Could you? I mean, a halberd's what, like 8 to 10 feet long, maybe longer.
Really? Okay. Well,
I think
then,
so.
if that's the case, she's got it tilted over her shoulder.
Yeah, it's doable, but it's certainly an unwieldy
You definitely
instrument.
couldn't fight
Yeah.
with it indoors.
Black blade, you said? Was that what you were trying to highlight?
Yes, the black blade.
Okay.
Fixed on a shaft 5 to 8 feet long is a large
Okay.
axe blade angled for maximum impact.
Okay.
So 8-foot shaft with a blade on it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's definitely can't stand it upright in these hallways. It's got to be tilted.
Whoa there.
She looks at you and goes, "You are Carl, the man that arrived with the caravan earlier today."
I rub my head. Yes. I'm sorry. I should have introduced myself. I took a blow to the head yesterday, and I'm Carl.
Would you?
And the engineer. I extend a hand, like confusedly.
She reaches it and takes it politely and says, "Would you mind coming with me? I know this is a bit of an intrusion, but we heard your story of gnolls on the road and a man in green armor." She asked, like, as if she's not sure if that's the right detail.
I nod. Yes. I think it was green. What? You didn't tell me who you are?
I'm sorry. My name is Sir Lydia. I am the sheriff of this town.
Sir, I didn't realize I was addressing a knight. Ooh, and here I'm not even dressed. Yes, give me a moment and I'll come with you. Oh God, there's blood on everything. And I like, yeah, hold it together, Carl. And I like button up my vest and get all my things ready. I leave my backpack behind.
What's in the backpack?
I hate you. All the spell component, or my spell book. The spell components are probably strapped to me, so they would find pouches of weird shit, but not that weird of shit. I don't think so. I hope not.
So what are you wearing? You only have the one set of clothes, right?
Yeah, I had like a pair of working trousers, now just coated with blood. I had a white like dress shirt
Mm-hmm.
and a vest over it. I don't know that I specified the color of the vest. And then there was and then I've got several belts, like a belt around my waist, and then like cross utility belt or something between shirt and vest.
Okay.
And there's blood. It's like I think all over my pants, and then I think my one shirt sleeve, and then probably just splatter
Splats
everywhere.
all over
Probably,
you. Mhm.
yeah.
You've probably cleaned your face by now, but
Yeah. I think I've rolled up my bloody shirt sleeve, or I roll it up as we're walking to make it like a little less.
yeah, there's a
absurd.
common room. But by the time you come back out, they've
I
already
leave
left
this-
your room,
okay.
and you meet them in the little common
Yeah,
room
I leave my
area.
staff and my backpack, which includes my spell book, behind, and I do have Carl on my belt, which I put on. But I'm not even proficient. I'm gonna get halberded to death, and they're gonna steal my spell book.
Anyway, you're brought into the common room where there is another man, also badly beaten and wounded, and you see that there are people at the back door and the front door poking their heads in but not actually stepping in. the innkeeper goes and sits at a different table from where this guy is seated. So there's this guy and the knight, Sir Lydia, and the two of them are seated at this table. She gestures for you to sit down. Her halberd is resting on a different table, and you notice that she's taken her sword off of her belt and rested on that table too.
Yeah, I take a seat and I don't know. I inspect Sir Lydia. I like trying to praise her. Like what?
She's like 5'11" and really
She is-
quite slender. She's like 130
She's taller than
pounds,
me.
maybe 135 pounds. She's tall and slender, really slender, with a I don't know, kind of a charming disposition around her. She seems very comfortable and relaxed, and she's got one of those personalities where you kind of just feel comfortable around her, even though you just met her.
I don't know. Okay. All right.
You may not know what that is, but that's the thing that normal humans feel.
I don't know that Georg feels like that either. But
Oh, that's fair enough then.
so, how old is she?
She is middle-aged, early middle-aged.
Okay. And she keeps her halberd on indoor, like at all, like she's got her halberd even while we're sitting.
Yeah, but I mean, it's at the table next to you, so she
Okay.
could like reach
Okay.
behind it and get it, but it's out of the way, but still accessible.
I probably just spent far too long gazing at her, and then I look over to the man, probably for the first time realizing that he's here, or like at least recognizing his presence.
His eyes are not looking at your face at all, but they're kind of running up and down your clothing. He's got a furrowed brow.
You said
and
he
then
was wounded?
Yeah, he's got blood on him, and his shoulder and arm are bandaged up.
Do I recognize this man as the one that lay apparently slain by the gnolls? Like, would I recognize him? / do I?
Give me a charisma check.
Charisma, hey.
Or why don't I roll your charisma check? What's your
Sure,
charisma?
my charisma's 11. I'm trying. I could have swore like it was a bloodbath. Wasn't I mean, like I'm.
You're thinking
Well-
back, like, shit, this looks a lot like that guy that I left for dead on the side of the road. The one
Uh-huh.
that I didn't check.
Okay. He's not gonna.
Um,
I don't know. Yeah. I'll let him.
Sir-
I'll look stunned and just staring. Yeah.
Sir Lydia says,
Back
so
to her.
we've heard of this Knoll attack, and it's a terrible thing that's happened. But I have two different accounts of it. One, she says, pointing to you, was that there were these gnolls who attacked, and a man in green armor. I think there was a name that he was given that someone told me. I don't remember. What was his name again?
I do not recall him shouting his name as he butchered the gnolls and then us.
Yes, this man came and butchered the gnolls and butchered the people. Bob, over here, has a slightly different story. He says that he
Shit.
and his...
I had never told her anything. This is like my first. Okay, whatever. I'm enamored. I'm slipping up. What did Bob say?
Bob says that he and his family were captured by gnolls while they were on their way to Thornwood. And that the gnolls were having fun butchering them when a man appeared on the road from Thornwood, who got the gnolls' attention, and then he played dead. Doesn't really know what else happened, but there was no knight. Instead, there was a voice, he claimed. Bob, what did that voice say? And Bob kind of keeps his head down. He says he said that they were dead when he arrived. He kept repeating that to himself in quiet, and then he turned his head to the sky. I guess I kept my eyes closed, so maybe not, but it sounded like he was shouting at the sky, and he said, "Are you happy now, Tyrus? Are you happy now?" I was too afraid to look. I was so scared from the gnolls. I was playing dead, hoping they'd just leave me there. I didn't want to look, and then he didn't leave. He sat there, or something. He didn't walk away, and then there was a carriage or a wagon or something, and he was yelling at it, and then it was quiet again, and eventually he left, and I just waited for, must have been an hour or 2 hours afterwards, and got up and tried to make my way back here, but I could tell, I could tell his footsteps
I
came
try to
towards
look
Mr.
increasingly more and more horrified as like the story goes on.
I could swear his footsteps were in the direction of Misthaven. I just know they were, and
That must be the knight that I've seen or that I saw.
no, I stole a glance at him. Just a quick one. He didn't have any armor. He was wearing a vest and brown pants. I couldn't see his voice, but I couldn't see his face, but
Well, that sounds remarkably like what I'm wearing. You
Sure.
see, I mean, I try and stay calm, and like, you see, I was traveling from the east, from Thornwood, when we were ambushed by gnolls. This is, yeah. It must be the same band. Fuck. I'm like looking to them, maybe trying to hide any sense of nerves.
Sir Lydia looks to you, Georg, and says, "So you were traveling from Thornwood, and you were ambushed by. Can you tell me the story in your own words?
It all happened so fast.
Who were you traveling with?
I just met them 2 days before. You see, I'm a traveling technician of sorts, and though I work alone, it's best to travel in the company of others. So I think one was Chris, and then there was I can't even recall. But must have been days in, and then they were on us. I took a rock to the head almost immediately. So such a blur of blood, and I've never seen anything like it.
And did you pass Bob here at any point during the day? Did you pass him on the road earlier or later?
I ran. They were. I didn't know what to do but run.
But you didn't see Bob.
Maybe I should have stopped for their bodies and helped them too, but I'm a coward, okay?
So you did see Bob and his family somewhere on the road?
Maybe, yes, there were bodies. I was running. I ran right past them and got to the good travelers that rescued me as soon as I could.
She looks back to Bob. Is it possible that you passed out or something when Carl here passed you? Bob kind of shrugs his shoulders. She goes, if you saw him, maybe you thought he was the wrong person? Bob shakes his head and goes, no. That voice, I know that voice.
My voice? I say to Bob, you've heard... Perhaps I was shouting as I ran.
Say for me, they were dead when I arrived.
Oh yeah, I speak like 8 languages. I'm gonna They were dead when I arrived. Hoping that wasn't too too obvious.
Give me a charisma check to try and disguise your voice.
Yeah,
but you don't have any voice to. Well, yeah, just give me a charisma check. We'll see how this goes.
24.
That's pretty good.
I did just spend some time in Shirebrook, so perhaps I picked up a bit of their twang. I don't know.
Sir Lydia looks back and forth between the two of you.
I try to look as pathetic as possible.
And Bob says, when I searched the bodies, a few of them had been ripped open and their guts removed. Lydia, or not Lydia, Bob looks at your... Well, no, you've rolled up your sleeves. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I look to
Never mind.
Lydia. I was like, have you known Knowles to do this?
No, I
To attack
haven't.
like this?
They're one to
Ferocity?
butcher or capture, but mutilate bodies only in the process of murdering them.
Perhaps they're somehow organized. This man that I saw or think I saw. Perhaps he's. I trail off,
Okay.
letting her fill it in as she will.
Okay.
My heart's like
She-
pumping out of my chest. Not my Georg's.
She
Actually, not. Yeah.
stands.
I should be afraid too. I got no spells in the bank. I got nothing.
You got an amulet.
I do. I had almost forgotten. Like I suddenly feel a warmth on my chest, and it's all right. It's gonna be all right.
She
I set up a little collar at that.
She gets to her feet and says, "Well, I don't think there's really any evidence that Carl here is the person you described, Bob. I think
I
you
look
both
like
got very
confused
lucky."
and appalled. Like I'm just connecting that I was even implicated, and I don't know if I can convey all that with one glance, but I make a funny face.
Why don't I think the Baron would like to hear from you guys. Even he should know about the attacks on his roads. He doesn't have a lot of men right now, but if people keep dying, something needs to be done. So I think you would be the two best ambassadors for the people of Misty Rapids, if you're up to it.
If it could help others, spare others the same fate as Chris and Jeff,
Don't worry about their names.
I would gladly tell my tale again, even if I have to revisit those horrifying moments.
Don't blame yourself for not being able to remember their names. I've lost people too. You only dig yourself a deep, deep hole if you go down that path. I will come and get you here tomorrow morning, if we can get an audience with Baron Noken. Rest well, and sorry to disturb you. She gets up, picks up her halberd, puts her sword back on her waist, and heads out the door.
As she's like just walking out the door, I'm like, "It was a pleasure to meet you, Sir Lydia," and like the door like slams and she doesn't need anything. Back to bed.
Okay. Back to bed. Boop, boop, boop. You sleep well. Probably too well. You spent the last night on the road, and you don't have a tent or a bedroll or blankets or anything.
I don't think I stopped to sleep. Did I? I think
Did
I
you
just
guys ride
powered-
through the night?
I didn't have a horse.
No, but you
I
were
think
on the
I
cart
walked-
with everyone else.
There was a cart.
The-
Oh, you mean like the last day? Okay, yeah.
So you've
I don't know. You tell me.
anyway, you're
Either way,
tired,
poor night's
so
sleep. Yeah.
you sleep from basically now until maybe an hour before sun comes up.
Holy crap!
Yeah, you get like a good 12 hours of sleep. You're just... And it is now morning in Misty Rapids. You are the...
All right.
You've found that you have some new flea bites on your legs and ankles.
Oh, of course.
It's okay. You can scratch them like a crackhead, and it'll be all right. What would you like to do today?
I start by memorizing spells.
Excellent.
I don't trust you enough to not keep a Featherfall memorized. All right, so we've got Enlarge, Reduce, Detect Magic, Color Spray, Featherfall, Displace Stealth, and Rope Trick. And was Lydia supposed to get me this morning or the next morning?
This morning.
What day is it? Where? What is that infernal racket? I look out the window.
Water comes rushing. You can see a waterfall just outside your window.
Oh. You said it's just before dawn, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can see
Can
the
I
waterfall
go
in the
acquire
distance.
some fresh clothes before? Yeah, so I'm gonna try to run out and see if I can find somewhere that's open early, and if not, catch the store owner as soon as he opens up.
You catch a few people waking
is
up
there-
and getting out of their beds,
Yeah.
walking
So-
around town, but it's pretty sleepy and pretty slow going.
Okay, let me actually go grab my books. So am I able to find what looks to be a tailor or leather worker or someone who sells clothes?
Yes, you do
Whether or
find
not they're open.
a tailor's shop
Mm-hmm.
just down the street a little ways, but they are not open yet.
Okay, so I'll mark it in my mind and sort of wander the streets in the pre-dawn morning,
Okay.
waiting for.
Yeah.
shop to-
Well, after you memorize your spells, there's probably actually not that much time before the sun rises. So
Mhm.
eventually, the shop, this room, the building opens up, and there's a little sign that's flipped on the front door. Doesn't say open, but it has a graphic demonstrating that the door is open.
Mhm. All right. Breeches are 2 GP.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will stumble in looking haggard, and hopefully not too many. What the fuck happened to you? As I buy. Hello? Pants? Pants?
Guy comes out and goes, "Oh, looking for pants. Let me just take your measurements. I can have them altered and ready for you by sundown. You need anything else?"
You got anything on quicker order? I mean, I can wait for the tailoring, but as you can see, I'm kind of a mess.
Well, we've just got the templates now. All my work is custom made, custom ordered. Usually people don't need pants that quickly.
Emergency pants. All right. Is he just do pants? Is this just a pants store?
No, he's got other things too.
Okay.
But the pants are.
All right. I'll let him take my measurements, and I'll come back later. So
He gets that
I'll do the
high
same.
inseam on you.
I'll do the same. Pants, tunic, vest for 14 silver plus 2 GP, 3.4 gold.
Okay. Do you want a second set of clothes with you?
Backup set of pants.
Well, I figure you
Does that add weight or does it just add cost?
just add cost. I figure
Okay.
the 5 pounds includes backpack and 2 changes of clothes
All right.
and your
So we're
shoes.
talking 6.8 gold. Let's make. All right. All right. Grumble, grumble. I guess I'll have to face the Baron looking like shit. Maybe it adds to my story.
Sure. He says he'll have everything ready for you by tonight. And then as you leave, you see him shuffling his kids over who get to work sewing your pants.
So I think we'll do some nice brown trousers. Are they like leather trousers?
Yes, they are.
Can they be cargo pants, or is that still not a thing?
Cargo pants are still not a thing.
Damn it. And then another white dress shirt and
Sure.
blue vest.
Are they both white dress shirts and blue vests? You got like the one outfit that just.
Sure,
All right.
sure.
Excellent.
I miss my robes and the freedom they afforded, but it's not safe.
Okay. Eventually, you make your way back to the First Falls Inn, where you find Sir Lydia waiting for you, and you go off collect Bob, and head out to the manor house. It's a few miles out of town to the south, getting into the Tether Wilds, but you're still quite a ways away from the whole thing. And why don't we deal with what happens over there on the other side of our break? See you guys in a little bit. Bye-bye.